Hello and welcome. We are looking into the full moon in Sagittarius on June the 4th, coming in right after that full moon lunar eclipse that we had in Scorpio on May the 5th. This is a really important full moon for preparing for the new cycle, preparing for something new that may have been brought to the conscious level during the full moon in Scorpio. So whatever you experienced during the full moon in Scorpio, if there was a conclusion, if there was some kind of finalization within yourself, a realization, a shift within your energy, a shift within your consciousness, pay attention to what may have happened, what you may have experienced on an internal level, on a mental level, emotional level, body level, physical level, and spiritual level. All of it is included, of course, connected, and even in the practical life, in your environment, in your outer world. So pay attention to any changes or anything that you might even be feeling within yourself that is starting to change. Maybe a new opportunity is on the horizon. Maybe you feel that you're stepping into a new chapter in your life, or a new cycle in your life, or even just being a different version of yourself. That was a very powerful full moon that we had in Scorpio. So it really allowed for us to really make concrete changes within ourselves if we chose to do so. But even after the full moon in Scorpio, we had the Mercury in retrograde. So the energy in the beginning of May was just a little bit off, right? It was maybe emotional for some people. It was maybe confusing for some people. Myself, I had a really interesting time during the Mercury retrograde. Usually I'm used to the retrogrades being in air signs, but this time it was in Taurus, which was a different feel. It definitely had a different feel to it. And I felt that it was, and myself as having a lot of air in my chart, it really did play on my mental processing, clarity. I felt really confused, a little bit foggy. And those were the factors to be aware of going into the retrograde. So when I was going through that and I experienced these symptoms, if you will, I knew what was happening. So when we have these moments in the astrological charts, in the skies, if you will, in the stars, there are certain aspects that will affect you. And so it's really great to observe and take note of what could be happening, even if you're going through struggle, uncertainty, big change, emotional turmoil, emotional upset. It's always there for us to learn through. It's important to not become that energy or that difficulty, and see what it is trying to teach you or tell you. Or maybe something needs to change, maybe something needs to heal, maybe something needs to resolve. The more we can lean into the difficulties, and this is part of the shadow work, the more that we can understand more about ourselves and what we need to focus on, and how we can make conscious choices about where we're giving our energy, how we're processing things, how we're internalizing, and how we are acting as a result or reacting to situations. So a lot of reflection work, but that allows you to be more conscious and more aware of yourself and explore different facets within yourself that you may not have explored before. I digress. Let's go into the full moon in Sagittarius coming in. So the reason why this full moon is really important is because of what we just went through at the beginning of May. Eclipse season, that very powerful. I felt that was the full moon in Scorpio allowed for a very significant shift in our timeline. So if you're doing this work, if you've been watching these videos, then you probably did experience some kind of realization, maybe awakening, maybe shift in consciousness, maybe feeling different, maybe even in your outer world, maybe a new career or a different path in life, or look at me, I'm moving. And it all lines up perfectly when you really look at it. When we get anxious about timelines and what's happening or where we're going, it all is happening for you perfectly. And this is part of the Sagittarius archetype. Expand into higher wisdom. Then we know, we have that understanding of our path. We have that greater ability to look at life differently. By the way, when I do these forecasts, I'm using intuition 100%. I'm not an astrologer. I don't read the charts. I don't listen to other people's content. Sometimes I do to see if I'm missing anything that's really important maybe, but this is fully 100% intuitive. This is based on my observation. It's based also on what I'm experiencing. Maybe you're experiencing it as well. I'm very tuned in with the energy. I love what the lunar cycles offer us, and I feel that it's a very potent energy for us to go into the depths with within ourselves, into our subconscious, into our emotions, and into the shadow work. So with this full moon in Sagittarius coming in, we are invited to prepare for this new adventure in our life that has somehow been set in motion during that full moon in Scorpio, whether it was a closure or whether it was a shift or whether it was a door opener, however it resonates with you and whatever you experience. This is the conclusion from that. This full moon is going to allow you to take note within yourself. Yes, full moons can bring up emotions to the surface, can bring up energy to the surface, can bring up uncertainty. It can resonate on a level of just being okay and fine and I feel good. It's going to affect everyone differently, right? But work with this full moon to be aware of possibly what do you need to release or look at deep within yourself that could be preventing you or holding you back from fully being open to the unexpected, being open to exploring life, being open to learning, being open for synchronicities. And the more open and expansive we can be, that's where we're in the flow with creation. That's where we're in flow with source, with the universe, with ourselves. And that's also where we gain a lot of information from. And so Sagittarius is the archetype. It is mutable fire. It opposes Gemini's mutable air, and it is higher wisdom, higher knowledge, right? And we gain that through experiences. We gain that through self-reflection. We gain that through connecting with people. We gain that from experiencing life. We gain it from reading and learning as well. So it could even be a great time to further your wisdom or your knowledge or expand your consciousness into areas that maybe you haven't explored before, but really tune in with yourself during this full moon. I want to say this is going to be a really great time, as I mentioned, an extension from that eclipse that we had, to go within and to really search for our greatest truth. There is the truth aspect with Sagittarius as well, the truth of ourselves, the truth of humanity, of the world, of the great mysteries of life, and go deep, do a deep dive within yourself. What perhaps might you be called towards for furthering your area of interest, where you can gain more knowledge, more wisdom, more experience, more expertise. Most importantly, connect with yourself. And take note of anything that might be limiting you or holding you back or preventing you from furthering your growth process, expanding your consciousness, learning, experiencing life, being open for the unexpected. Is there fear? Is there apprehension? Is there worry? Is there doubt? Is there uncertainty? Sit with it. That is there for you to lean into and to understand where exactly it's coming from and how it might be affecting your journey moving forward. That's part of the shadow work. It's part of understanding where this is coming from, not to push it away and not to shy away from it, but to go into it, lean into anything that might be surfacing around this full moon so that you can continue this new chapter that has started, or even furthering an area of study or interest, or being open for the unexpected. As I mentioned, the synchronicities, travel, adventure, searching, seeking for wisdom, searching and seeking for the answers that you feel called towards, but you might not have clarity on it just yet. That we need to go through certain stages and experiences in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to discover more about ourselves. All right, so I hope that offers some guidance during this full moon in Sagittarius. Of course, during full moons, I like to write down what I want to release, do some self-reflection, go inward and see if there's anything that's holding you back, resistance, fear, uncertainty, and let it go. And you can burn the paper safely, light a sage, clear the space. I enjoy a nice salt bath as well, just washing away old energy, and just reflect on what is starting to change within your life, within yourself. And where do you feel this might be leading you towards? You don't need to have the full answers, but be open for the adventure.